All right, thanks for joining us, everybody. If you've got questions for John, just raise your hand, and then we'll get you a mic.
Just give me a second. John, when you took Manoah out there, did you do that as because he was clearly so distraught, or were you already considering it because he'd already hit somebody else and I think given up a double at that point?
Yeah, it was more so where they were in their lineup and where his pitch count was, and probably not going that much deeper. And that kind of incident, I think, sitting out there for a while, you hate seeing that. And I think just from a mentality standpoint too, as well as matchups, it was the right time. It's usually Keeks, yeah.
With Cabrera, I know usually when you guys get a new pitcher, you like to wait a little while before.
Ease him in.
Well, no, but I mean with Pete and his repertoire, but before that sort of thing, Pete likes to look at him a couple of times before suggesting any tweaks. But it seems like he's dropped some pitches, and it seems like that command that was an issue in St. Louis isn't an issue here. What have you guys done?
Yeah, credit to Pete, right? No, I mean, he's always had that kind of arm and that kind of strikeout ability. I think all we've kind of done is try to simplify things with where the catchers are setting up and what pitches he's throwing to both righties and lefties. But, I mean, you can't ignore this stuff. I think, change of scenery was probably a good thing for him too. And, so far, so really good for him. That's a huge spot to come in, strikeout, pop up. Huge part of the game, but I think he's just simplified it and understanding that his stuff plays if he's in the zone.
And obviously you've been singing the praises of Trevor Richards all year, but again, he comes in a huge spot for you.
I mean, we've been saying it all year. It's pretty elite what he's doing in terms of striking guys out. You trust him in big spots, and for a dude with two pitches, he really, really pairs them well together. So. It's tough to load the bases, but you trust that Trev is gonna get the job done, and he did again.
John, two questions. First one is that in the 3 games of the win streak, the bullpen has stranded 13 inherited runners. How underrated a factor is that for you?
For us, it's not. I mean, I think around baseball it probably is, but when you're pitching out of jams and you're not giving up, hits with runners in scoring position, and you add in strikeouts, it's huge. You look at what Swanee did yesterday, Trev today, Cabrera today. That really kind of just gives you a little bit of momentum going forward. And they're big spots in the game. These guys have been kind of doing it pretty regularly for the whole year, and it's been different guys too. So that's been fun to watch. These guys are performing at a really high level, but to strand those guys and to give your offense, a chance to come back and add on is huge.
Second question is the Ohtani strategy. Was that devised before the series or after the first inning yesterday?
No, it was strictly because, I'm just following Chappie's lead right there. That's all it is. Just listed it in my third baseman, and it worked, But I think you look at it, there's going to be times where you don't want to let him beat you. And score dictates it, whether, it's the first inning or the fifth or the sixth. It's, you kind of just pick your poison a little bit. And, for that type of player, he can change the complexion of a game with one swing really quickly. So glad I had that talk with Chappie yesterday.
After we talked to you, Jordan did end up going on the IL. Just any update on that? Do you guys hopeful that it's going to be a 15-day thing?
Yeah, hopeful for that. I mean, he was feeling better today. I think just kind of the fact that he's dealt with it a couple times, even since the All-Star break, trying to just knock it out and get him, ready for the stretch run. I think that's the plan. Is it should be a minimal stay for him, and we all know how important he is to us. So we don't want to keep running him out there and hoping he doesn't tweak anything. So as tough as it is to lose your closer, you have other guys that are really capable too. So hopefully he's back soon.
And just speaking of the other guys, do you feel like it's going to be like a situational thing, closer by committee sort of situation, or is there one guy that you're leaning towards taking over?
It'll probably be a little bit situational. There's guys that, have done it before, a handful of guys that have done it before. And I think that it's an opportunity for these guys to kind of step up if they haven't done it, and just try to put them in the right spots. It could be Tim, it could be Jimmy, it could be Nate, it could be Jay, it could be Trev, it could be really anyone. So, you know, they're ready for it, and hopefully they continue to perform the way they have been.
Just to go back to Manoah for a minute, what you saw today before that incident, a step forward, step back, flatlining, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was really good at times and a little bit inconsistent at times, but I don't think it's a step backward by any stretch of the imagination. I thought that he was getting some swing and miss with both fastballs and slider. Called strikeout with the slider. Changeup really got better as the game went on too. And if that's on for him, that makes him that much better. But I think kind of just lost command a little bit there in the 5th inning. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good day for Alek.
John, what was the explanation you got on the Bo incident there in the 1 inning?
He was out of the box, apparently, which when you look at it, yeah, he came out of the batter's box, which is interference, and the catcher doesn't have to make a throw. We've seen that before when guys try to steal, and if the catcher doesn't throw the ball, it's not interference or a double play, things like that. I had never seen that where a hitter is actually out of the batter's box, and what Andy told me was if he was in the box, he would have been fine.
Hey, John, besides Kirky hitting 2 out today, what have you been seeing in him lately that suggests that maybe that was something that was coming?
Yeah, I mean, I think the quality of the bats were getting better and better. You know, he's got 4-hit game in Seattle. You know, his at bats are better. He's controlling the zone, and he's doing damage on pitches that he should do damage on, which, you know, it's a credit to him for the work, but at the same time, you know, he's been doing that for, you know, the majority of his career. So you get him rolling, you know, him and Jano kind of doing the same thing with the damage at that position. It's huge. But we've liked what we've seen probably the past 2 weeks or so, just with the way he's controlling the zone and how hard he's hitting the ball.
All right, thanks everyone. Thanks, John.
Thanks, guys.